Okay, so yeah, we're going to be talking about functions. Just write down the date, your name, and the topic, and hit File Save As. I'm going to be saving all my, instead of writing the things in the notes, what you can do is save on your hard drive. So on the desktop, make a folder called Unit 0 Programs. I'm going to make a new folder for this is IG Unit 0 Programs. Okay? Make a folder on your computer and save this as functions. Okay? So you can save it as functions.py. What is a function? Have you heard about a function? Have you heard what is function? Do you know what this word function is? So let's have a look at our PowerPoint. So we're on Unit 0 and we're on 8. Okay? The topic is procedures and functions. And what are functions? Basically, functions is a way to organize and simplify my code. It just makes it more agenda, right? And if I do a procedure, you can call a function. So basically, how to make a function, you first write DEF. DEF stands for define, and it turns orange. Then you put the function name, koha, mahal. Then you write the function code in here, for example, print hello. So the very first thing is to make a function. Okay, you have to have a function name. And the second thing is how to call a function. You just make sure that it has the same name. That blue should be the same as here without the mahal. So that's the general idea. The general idea is make a function, use DEF, write the function name, and then call the function. So let's make our very first function. Okay, so go DEF, print name, bracket, and then in here I'm going to say print my name is Mr. Newson. Okay, you just write your own name. When I hit run, let's see if nothing happened. Why do you think nothing happened there, Carol? I hit run, but it didn't print my name. Why? I have print name. My name is Mr. Newson. There's no mistake, but it didn't 打印. 为什么? Why didn't it print? Yes, it's because first I made the function. I didn't call a function. 你需要喊它的名字. Okay? You need to call the function. Okay? How do I call the function there, Yuna? How do I call the function? Right now, I made the function. In fact, this is called a procedure because it didn't pass any data. How do I call the function there, Yuna? What is the function's name? Look at the blue thing. What is the function's name? I need to call the function. How to call the function? 我需要喊他. What is his name? Yeah, you're just going to go print name, and then you have to put koha. Okay? So when I hit run, now it says my name. And if I want to call the function twice, I could print it right here. What is this going to do, Carol? Yeah. Okay. Now, just note, okay, you know how to make a function and then call a function. Now, functions, there's something that you need to know about the variables within. There are two types of variables. One is called a local variable, and one is called a global variable. When you make a variable within a function, he's a local variable. It means he can only be used inside that module. Okay? He can't be used 在外面 unless you make it a global function. Okay? And why do we have this? There's several reasons why we have local and global 变量. Okay? The very first reason, local variables, is so we don't have to worry about the variables' names that someone else created. Okay? And it also enables us that I can use common variable names like x and y, and there won't be a conflict. Okay? So it's basically so we don't have to worry about variable names. We're going to go do this example. Okay? For example, I'm going to make a variable called x. X is equal to 4. Is this a local or global variable? Carol. Local or global? Do you know what the word local means? Do you know what the word local means? Local means like very close, right? If you're local, it means 不远,很近. Global means 很远. It can be used everywhere. Okay? Local means it's, where is it? 在哪里? There, Carol. Whereabouts is local? It's 在里面那个 function. If it's outside, it's, what is it called there, Yuna? If a function is outside my, if a variable is outside my function, it's called a global. Okay? For example, this is a local variable. How do I know this? Because I'm going to try to print x. Do you think this is going to print x? This is local variable because it's inside my function. If I hit run, it says x is not defined. Yuna, this is a piece of garbage. I put x is equal to 5 and 他说他不知道 x is something. It says I did not define x, but I did. I put x is 4. Why can he not print him? 为什么他不可以打印? Why cannot he print? Is this print 在里面那个 function or 在外面? Is it inside or outside the function? Is outside. So this is trying to print a global variable, but you cannot print a variable that's inside because he can only be print if he's inside the function. So if I take this print, boop, 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 and I put them inside, you see the indentation there. Will this work? What do you think, Yuna? Will it print 4? 你猜. Will this print? 你觉得可以打印吗? Okay, let's have a try. We'll see if you're right. It worked. It's because he's inside. So just note, if I say x is equal to 10, is this a local or global variable there, Carol? I put him at the very beginning. Is this local or global? Is it inside a function? Is this 10 在里面, is it inside a function? 有没有? 在里面? No, the function is right here. Is this inside the function or outside function? So is it local or global? Global. This is a global variable. How do you know? 你怎么知道? Carol, this is a global variable 因为 it's outside the function. That means that I can print him anywhere. So watch. I'm going to take this print x and print x here. Is this going to print 10 or 4? What do you think there, Yuna? I have 两个 x is equal to 10, x is equal to 4. I'm going to 打印 x. Is it going to print the global or local variable? Okay, let's see if you're correct. I'm going to hit run. It printed the global. You're correct. I'm going to move this print now. Boop, 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 boop. I'm going to put him inside. Carol, is this print x going to print 10 or is it going to print 4? 你猜. It's going to print 4. Let's have a try. It print 4. Okay, so do you understand? Put your note. What is the difference between local and global? Can you tell me, Yuna? Yes. Carol, why is this 重要? Why do we have 2个变量? One's global and local. Why does program have 2个这个算法? Why do we have this idea? Okay, let's write it down. The reason is so uh, we don't have to worry about the names of variables within function. Okay? 我们不需要担心 about the 名字 of the thing. Okay? We don't need to worry about the name within the function. I can use the same name. I can use x and x, and there will not be conflict. Okay? Let's just write this down. Okay? Why is this important? Okay. Let's do summary. Okay? Local variable, it must be inside function. Okay? Global variable, 你写, you can type on your DNL, okay? Global variable is outside function. Why is this 重要 there, Carol? Why is this important? Why is this 重要? Why is this important? Carol? Why, 为什么 we have global and local? Yeah, we don't need to worry about the name. It enables us to reuse variables. I can use the the variable inside or outside a function or procedure. Okay, so why is this important? We don't need to worry about the names. Okay, I can if I wanted to use x and y location and I had another variable import, I don't have to worry that there's a conflict between these two variables. Can I print a global variable inside this function? I'm going to delete this. Carol, what do you think? What is this? I say x is equal to 10. This is local hash or global. And I print x. What do you think this is going to work or going to have a toll? Is this going to print 10? 不会? Let's have a try. It print 10. Just know global is more powerful. He can print anywhere. Okay? So even though this x here, he's printing global because global is more powerful. Outside can be accessed everywhere. Global means 所有的地方 you can use him. Local only can use inside function. Okay? Carol, can you have a type? So he can print because global is more powerful. He can print inside function, 还有在外面. Okay? Is this idea any question about the global variables? Is it clear? Okay. So next, we got this. For example, Q, I love chocolate. This is a global. How do I know that this is global there, Yuna? Okay, then I have define F. P is equal to that. Print P. Is this going to print a local or global variable there, Carol? Print P, is this going to print a local or global variable? 你确定吗? Where's the P? Inside function or outside function? Yeah, it's local. How do you know it's local? Yeah, because it's inside function. This is the 开始 of the function, and then this is the code of the function. Very good. Yes. Okay. Now, I can, listen to this. You can make any variable global by using the global function. If I put global P, that means that even though I have a 变量, Carol, I need your eyes open. Thank you. You can stand if you need. If you want a local variable to go outside to become global, you just 写 global 在前面. This is a way to make a global variable into global. Okay, so that's just a little note. Okay, now in a function, we're going to talk about passing variables inside him. So we have, sometimes we don't have any variable, but sometimes we put a 变量 inside the 括号. What this means is you can put a global variable 进去 inside inside the function. And then after he does the calculation, we use the function called return. This is going to give the function outside my function. So he's going to have, this is global. 放进去 is a local variable. And then I can return him outside so that I can 打印. Okay? Let's have a try to do this. It's called passing. 放一个 variable inside. So I'm going to delete this. Boop, 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 boop. Okay, part 2. So this is local global variable. That was the very first one. Local versus global. Okay. Part 2 is how to pass a variable inside a function. Okay. So I want you to make a function called math. 数学. Okay. And inside him, I'm going to print, I'm going to give him a number. Okay. And then in here, I'm going to do, actually, let's put pi. I'm going to put 3.15 pi. And I'm going to print 2 times pi inside the function. Okay? What is pi equal to there, Carol? What is the value of pi in the 书写? You can, 你可以起来, 如果你累. What is pi equal to? Yeah. It's equal to 3.14. Is this the integer 还是 float there, Yuna? Is this int 还是 float? What kind of 变量 is this? Do you remember? It's a float. This is a float because it has a decimal. Okay? So, this is a global variable. 但是 he's 在外面. I found into him, and then he does this. So, what I'm going to do is I made the function. Function there, Carol. How do I call the function? I want to call 那个数学 the math. How do I call him? 我怎么喊那个 function? Because if I run him, 没有东西出来 because我没喊. How do I 喊它? If you remember up here. I made the function. 我怎么 call? How do I call the function? 我需要喊什么? Carol? How do I 我怎么喊那个 function? How do I call the function? You make a function, you give the function name. This is how to create the function. 我怎么 How do I call the function? What do I need to do? You just 写那个 function name with the 括号, 对不对? So in here, how do I call this math function? How do I call this math function? What's the function's name? What is the function's name? I made the function here. 它的名字是什么? What is his name? Look at the blue words. What is the function name? It's math, 数学, right? So how do I call the math function? Well, you just 写它的名字 and then you put a 括号, 对不对? But inside him, I'm giving him a number. I want to give him 3.14. What this is going to do is this is going to function to here, and then he's going to do the 书写, and then I must return. Why do I need to return? Is because after I do the 书写, let's do the sum is equal to 2 times pi. I need to return the result. So I'm going to print the sum. Okay. Let's have a try. I'm going to hit run. And it returned 6.28. So you can see what it did is I actually put some data inside him. I said math, and then I put here. He went up here. Boop. He did some 书写, 2 times pi. Boop. Here. And hit return. What does return do? It put it so I could print the sum. Because you have to go 在里面那个 function and then 在外面. If I don't have the return, let me kill the return. Let's see what's going to happen. Okay. Oh, it still worked because it's like it says built-in thing, sum. I'm going to call this sum2. Let's get it sum2. Okay, let me have a run. We got an error. Yeah. Okay. So that's the idea between the variable. We have global. We talk pass. Pass means you put something inside the kohal, and that just means he function to, and then he go, and then you can return. It means he goes out, in and out function. Okay. Here's an example. Carol, can you explain what does this function do? What does this function do? What is the 结果? He's going to print what? Can you figure out the 结果? What is he going to do? I made a function called add, num1, num2. This is passing two things inside the function. What is num1, num2 equal to? Yeah, okay. So what is num1 equal to? Right here, I call the function and I'm passing what numbers? What numbers am I putting into? What num1 是多少? 不是. Look. Inside the kohal, I'm giving the function some numbers right here and here. What are the two numbers? What is this number right here? Can you? No, what's the number? It's 23. Therefore, 23, it's going to go in here. Agree or disagree? This is called passing. It means to 送给他. And then what is the second number there, Yuna? It's 45 it goes into. And then inside him, we just print, and then we just add the 结果. So it's going to be 23 plus 45, and then that would be the result. Cool? Okay, so this is the last thing is, yeah, I don't know why you're so tired. Is it because of the TV? Does the TV make you tired, maybe? I don't know. Okay, last thing is procedure and function. What is the difference? This is on your exam, okay? The only difference between procedure and function, it has the data function to. And then procedure does not return the data, okay? So procedure is a function that does not does not return the data, okay? So for example, I have a function, I add A and B, and then I return the integer. If I don't have a return, okay, it's called a procedure. If it has return, it's called function. So there's two names. Procedure, inside the kohal, there's nothing in here, right? And it doesn't have return. Function, inside the kohal, I put some number. Maybe I put it to or a 3 or something. Okay, I pass the data. If you pass the data, it's called function. If you don't pass the data, is that. Okay, this is your schoolwork. You, copy 0.8 and you're going to tell me what is difference between function procedure. Write a procedure to print welcome to computer science. And then you're going to copy your code and you just function to. Okay? And then copy this. Carol, can you do that? Thank you. So on your laptop, right click on 0.8, hit copy. And then find your programming notebook, right click and hit paste. Okay. And then right here, what you're going to do is you're going to make some functions to do a square. So some like math. Okay. And then you'll just put your codes there. Again, it's just looking something like this. You have a function, you use DEF, you have a function. If you want to pass data, you do the math, you can return, and then you have you call the function underneath. You must call the function after you make it. You can't put the call at the front. Okay, cool. So I'll come in and help you guys where you need. Okay, so I'm going to stop recording.